Okay, back with one more video on this series on the potential Wisconsin offensive line coach candidates. Just going to do a little bit of review, go back with some of the candidates we've talked about so far, touch on a few of the miscellaneous candidates that I've heard come up in the last couple days. Every day who goes by, I see a new name come up. So we'll see who's still available and talk a little bit about what we're looking for and what I'm looking for as a coach at the end to see if we're picking the right candidate. All right, so just as a quick review, we're going to go through everybody just here real quick. All right, so first up, we had Austin Bujnak, who is the offensive line coach, co-offensive coordinator at Youngstown State, grad assistant under Luke Fickell. Okay, next we have Alex Huddle, again, another former graduate assistant of Luke Fickell, who's currently the offensive line coach at Old Dominion. Next, we have Ron Cook, who was Luke Fickell's offensive line coach at Cincinnati from 2017 to 2021. He's currently the offensive line coach at Virginia Tech. Next, we have Mike Cummings, who succeeded Ron Cook when he went off to Virginia Tech, and he came in 2022. He's currently the offensive line coach at Appalachian State. Next, we have Ed Warner, one of our outside-the-box home run hit candidates. His connection, obviously, is his time at Ohio State from 2012 to 2016. He is currently the offensive line coach and associate head coach at Florida Atlantic. Another home run type hire candidate would be Herb Hand, currently the offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator at UCF. No direct connection to Luke Fickell, but he has experience in similar systems and is one of the better development offensive line coaches out there today. After that, we're going to get into the alumni. And again, here's all the guys who will not be offensive line coach at Wisconsin, because Luke Fickell is not going to hire somebody just based on where they went to school. But if you need somebody from Wisconsin to be your offensive line coach, we got some candidates. Donovan Raiola, offensive line coach in Nebraska, former Wisconsin offensive lineman, obviously. As great a candidate he might be, it's going to be hard to pull him out of Nebraska with that last name, especially now with his nephews coming in to play QB. Al Johnson, heard that he actually took an interview already at Wisconsin, which is a good sign. Former offensive lineman for the Badgers, running back coach in 2022, and is currently the offensive line coach at Montana State. Next will be Josh Oglesby, again, our highest ranking 5-star recruit in Wisconsin history, has gone on to have a few stops along the way in his coaching career following Gary Anderson, then on to the lower professional ranks in the AAF and the XFL, and is now currently the offensive line coach at San Jose State. So, and that gets us into just some names that I've heard, pop up in my mentions, pop up in discussions, and we'll just go through them real quick. First thing, Clay McGuire is the offensive line coach at Washington State. I think he's done a pretty good job the last couple of years of rebuilding a more balanced air raid attack. He also has experience playing for and coaching under Mike Leach. Only negatives I'd say there is he's up until 2019 he's mostly been a running back coach and a special teams coach. Mason Miller is the offensive coordinator at Tarleton State. He was Mike Leach's offensive line coach for a time at both Washington State and Mississippi State. Great familiarity with the system, but I think it's going to be hard to pull him out of the state of Texas at this point. Stacy Searles, he was the offensive line coach at North Carolina before Jack Bicknell Jr. Would be a great hire, but ain't no chance we're getting him out of Georgia. Thomas Austin came up because of who is replacing him. He was recently let go Clemson, and he was replaced by Matt Luke, who was the head coach at Ole Miss, who hired Phil Longo. And there had been some talk about maybe him coming in, but he just picked up the job at Clemson, so he's not going anywhere. But Thomas Austin is a young guy and has maybe picked up a little bit of the blame for what went wrong at Clemson this year. I don't think that's quite necessarily the case, but see. Another name that's come up, and this could be an intriguing candidate because of his Midwestern ties and look at the guys he's developed over the last couple of years, and that is Kurt Anderson, who was recently let go as the offensive line coach at Northwestern. Would be a very intriguing candidate. And finally, we have Jason Hufftailing, who has a slight Fickell connection through his head coach with the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel. That staff obviously is in flux right now. He's just recently got into the NFL after a pretty decent career at the FCS level. I've actually had conversations with him years ago, briefly over email, over some recruits, when he was the head coach and the offensive line coach previous to that at Wagner, an FCS school in New York City. It's possible. He would be a really interesting one to come back to the college level. I like his Northeastern ties, but you never know. All right, so there's just some more names being thrown out there. Who it's going to be doesn't really matter. What matters is, one, the coach can develop players with a focus on the fundamentals. Two, he has familiarity enough with modern offensive football, especially the air raid, to fit the system. He needs to be a strong recruiter, preferably with Midwestern ties, to get the type of lineman that we can get at Wisconsin, but then more importantly, get the best of the type of players that we normally can get at Wisconsin. That combination and we'll be set. I think over the last few years, this will be our fourth offensive line coach in 4 years, is we've had we haven't had all those categories put together. We've had good talent developers, but not great recruiters. We've had great recruiters, but not guys who are focusing on the fundamentals, and it keeps going. I think this needs to be a strong hire. This is a very important hire for Luke Fickell, and he needs to hit this one out of the park. So we'll see in the next couple weeks, and this job should be filled relatively quickly. I'm still waiting for it to be posted publicly, but I have a feeling that they already have their short list down. Again, if the rumors are true that they've been vetting people since the middle of the season, or maybe even considering making a move in the middle of the season, that they might already know who their guy is. We're just waiting for all the paperwork to get cleared up and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But we need to get this offensive line coach set. It's going to be a real interesting few weeks now with so many jobs going to be opening up in the college ranks in the fallout of the Nick Saban hire. So this is definitely going to be an interesting offseason. And this hire is as easy as it sounds like it could be. Could get interesting in the end. All right, so we'll see what happens. But that'll be it for my look at the offensive line coach candidates. We'll see. Maybe I get lucky and one of them is actually one of the guys who gets hired. So we'll see. All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.